Fireside Chat with the President. So good to see you all. All right, this is season 4, episode 2. Got a lot going on, so let's get started. Let's start with staff meetings. We had a lot of questions about staff meetings, so let's go over some basic stuff, right? So the question was, what constitutes a staff meeting, right? What qualifies as a staff meeting? So based on the definition from our contract, which says that staff meetings are staff meetings, staff collaboration, and or professional learning. So PLCs are considered part of staff meeting time. Anything that kind of fits within that descriptor that I just read to you, that comes straight from the contract. Okay, so what's not a staff meeting? Well, it's another good question. So we're in the process of confirming this, but we believe that staff meetings do not include any kind of team or committee work, so things like ILT, culture and climate, and so on. Those teams and committees should be something that occurs outside the workday, that folks are paid through EWRs to participate in, and they're voluntary. So you choose to participate in these teams or committees. You cannot be required to participate in these teams or committees. And so that's the staff meeting part. But let's get to the part that I think a lot of you are really concerned about, and that's the number of staff meetings that your site managers are scheduling for you and your peers every week. This is something that we tried pushing back on last year. We filed a grievance. We're going to re-look at that grievance because we think maybe we didn't file it under or put the grievance forward under the correct section of the contract, so we may be able to file a new grievance. So we're looking into that. But what's happening around the district, what I want to talk quickly about is that this need to increase the number of staff meetings, to demand more of your time, to push the boundaries of what's acceptable, like the 7 hours of staff meetings a month, is just ridiculous. And I know you're all feeling it. Some of you are doing 2 staff meetings a week, plus maybe you have IEPs after school, and if they want you to sign up for some of these other volunteer committees like ILT or culture and climate, that's another day. And so they're just demanding more and more of your time. And so I hear you, your executive board hears you, and I'm not here to tell you what to do, but you might want to consider letting other folks hear you as well. For example, the school board. The school board is a great place to share your concerns with, right? So next school board meeting isn't until September, and I'll get the exact date for you next time I put out a Fireside Chat. But you might want to consider either taking your 3 minutes live at the board meeting, because the board meetings are live now, so you can actually show up, put in your 3 minutes, and share with the board how these excessive staff meetings are impacting your ability to spend time with your family, maybe to earn additional income, right? Because you can't teach after-school programs or work as a coach somewhere, or other things that you might have done normally after school, but now you can't because you have all these meetings. Those of you who do other volunteer work like coaching for Little League or for youth soccer, things like that you're not able to do because you can't commit the time. And so there's just a whole plethora of reasons why maximizing staff meeting time isn't good for morale, it isn't good for the workplace, it ultimately isn't good for students, and it's not good for the educational environment. And so we know it's interesting that we have this climate and culture team that every site is supposed to constitute and make available, but yet when we actually look at the climate and the culture in which we're creating, it seems like nobody's really looking at that, right? And so having these excessive staff meetings really impacts the climate of the site. It definitely modifies the culture of the site. And so, if we're really concerned about the climate and culture, not just for our students, but for the entire educational environment, we really kind of, as a district, need to look internally as to what kinds of things are we promoting and pushing, and how is that beneficial to the climate and the culture in which we work and which our students learn. So that's staff meeting. Labor Day picnic. So every year for several years now, the Central Coast Labor Council puts on a Labor Day picnic. It's a really great event. It happens on a Friday, the Friday before the actual Labor Day. This event is put on by the Central Coast Labor Council, but it's co-sponsored by lots of labor organizations like SMEA, CTA, UDW, the Teamsters, and so on. Lots of labor organizations that are here on the Central Coast. And so we are inviting you. Every single SMEA member is invited to the Labor Day picnic. It's free to you and your family. There's going to be food and drinks and prizes and entertainment, and a lot of our local politicians come out, and so you can meet them and chit chat and hear them speak, and it's just a really great event. There'll be games and fun stuff for the kids, and so it's a really great outdoor event. It says Labor Day. This is the Central Coast Labor Council Labor Day picnic. It's going to happen on the Friday before Labor Day. So that's next Friday, the Friday before Labor Day. So that's the next Friday. It's the beginning of your 3-day weekend. So it's a great way to kick that off. The event is held at Pioneer Park, which is here in Santa Maria. It's out by the airport, real close to the Fox and Wood community. If you are looking for something to do, looking for a great way to kick off your Labor Day weekend, please consider joining us at the Central Coast Labor Council's annual Labor Day picnic. Again, Pioneer Park here in Santa Maria. Oh, and everything is free. CTA membership cards. I get this question every year. Jose, how do I get a copy of my card? Can you order me a copy of my card? I lost my card. I don't know how to get a copy of my card. Well, first of all, let's talk about how you get your CTA identification card. Your CTA identification card is going to come attached to your next edition of the CTA California Educator, which is their monthly publication. And so this magazine gets mailed straight to your home. If you look on the back, I believe, your card will actually be attached using that tacky glue onto the back. You peel it right off and you can have a hard copy of that. So your CTA card will come directly to you. And in the past, they used to be sent to us, the association leadership, and then we would have to separate them all out and send them all out to every single member across the district, and it was a lot of work. So anyway, we don't do that anymore. Now CTA just mails it directly to you. Now, it'll be mailed to wherever your California Educator is mailed to, so hopefully you have a current address on file with CTA. If not, you need to contact them, the membership department at CTA. You can also link them at the CTA.org website and make sure that your personal contact information is as up to date as possible, all right? So that's the CTA membership card coming straight to you. Duty-free lunch. Let's talk a little bit about duty-free lunch. Every single member, regardless of your job description, regardless of what department you work in, what site you work at, is entitled to a 40-minute duty-free lunch. And duty-free means just that. It means a time where you have no duties, no obligations, no responsibility. You are essentially off the clock during your duty-free lunch. So during your duty-free lunch, if you're a teacher in a classroom, it starts the time that you release your students for lunch. So if you walk your kids to the cafeteria, that time walk from your classroom to the cafeteria, that's not part of your duty-free lunch. Your 40 minutes begins when you release the students to the lunch time or noontime folks who are there managing the lunch lines, or it could be an administrator there, right? So if your lunch begins at 11:30, then you may want to make sure that you are there at the lunch line with your kids and able to release them at 11:30, not leaving your classroom at 11:30 and using your duty-free lunchtime to transport your students over to the cafeteria. This works at the other end as well. When your duty-free lunch ends, then you're obligated to return to fulfilling your duties and responsibilities. So just want to make sure that we understood that your duty-free lunch doesn't include meeting with students, it doesn't include having meetings with parents. Now, if you choose to do those things because it's the only time that you can do it, or you really need to connect with that parent, or you have a couple of kids or a few kids who you really want to work with, maybe a day or two during your lunchtime, that's completely up to you. It is your duty-free, so you get to choose how you use that time. Last but not least, PD for me. Now, some of you may not know this. When you knew the district, we have something called PD for me. It's something that SMEA does for our members. We've been doing it for several years now. It's our way of providing folks with options and opportunities to kind of de-stress, to relax, kind of get away from your job a little bit, do something different than you normally would do. Hopefully doing something that you wouldn't normally have an opportunity to do. And so what we do is we put on these classes, we have these clubs, we have these events and activities that are all under the umbrella of PD for me, and all members are invited to participate. These events are free to all members. And so what does a PD for me look like? Well, PD for me could be things like clubs, movie clubs, beer clubs, exercise club, our classes, It can be cooking classes. We've had essential oil classes in the past. We've also had events like bowling tournaments and kayaking. And so, we're always trying to bring new things to our members. We will have the full list of this year's PD for Me activities and events and offerings very soon. Expect to see a separate standalone email that has the list of all the offerings that are available, and then information about how you sign up for each and every one of those. And so again, these PD for Me offerings are free to our members. So for example, if you join the movie club meets every couple of weeks. They meet up at a local theater. They screen a currently released film. Tickets are purchased by SMEA. If you join the beer club, we do a round or a flight that's on the association. If we have a kayaking activity, SMEA pays for the kayaking rentals and whatever other fees are associated with that event. Same thing with like bowling tournaments and so on. So all this stuff that are offered through PD for Me our costs are covered by the association. So really, we just want you to have opportunities to join us. And so please look in the near future for a separate email communication that's just going to be a PD for Me standalone email. It's going to list all the offerings and then information about how you sign up. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's Friday. Have a great weekend. The first couple of weeks of the school year are under your belt. Take a deep breath, moving forward. And so have a great weekend. Do something that brings you joy. Enjoy your time, have fun, and get yourself prepared and energized to start the week back up come Monday. All right, bye everybody.